Hi, everybody. Okay, let's talk about December. This is the December energy update, and I have to tell you, as we've talked, time for everyone doesn't matter what your age, um, feels to be honestly kind of moving in all directions. I know that might sound a little odd, but um, so I noticed that November, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but seems to have accelerated as far as time goes. And you know how the universe works to offer synchronicity to that. Within probably 2 or 3 days, I think I was watching something on Gaia for a bit, and someone, whoever they were interviewing, said, and some of you may know what this was, I haven't even bothered to look this up, but said that on October 29th of this year, something happened. I don't know if it was an alignment or whatever, but where time started to accelerate. And I was like, what? so so it is apparently real in the sense, I mean, I know we all feel things a little bit differently in how that works, but it's just interesting how I've noticed, and even in just talking to people who, aren't either clients or people that I know going through the awakening journey, just about everybody is saying, "Oh my gosh, they were forgetting things. They're thinking something already happened and it didn't, or it already did and they didn't think it did," and it's just become confusing. So I don't know if you're feeling that way, but anyway, November has been very interesting, very fast paced, very in your face. Um, as well. I've noticed that with a number of people, kind of accelerating toward the end of the year. We've talked about that, how the acceleration toward the end of the year after kind of Lionsgate is, and then the equinox, accelerating into the end of the year to prepare us for the new year. So we're closing out a lot of things. Many of you would probably be able to give some good examples of things that are being closed out in your journey. Now, that could be a start of something too, right? Something big. And I know a lot of people that are having a lot of closure with situations they've been working on for a while, or the opening of new doors of things starting in their journey. So when we open a new door, that's a closing of another. We might not see it that way, but it is. So I'm just, always feel free to share, because it's interesting to see the patterns that we represent as a collective when we're going through this journey. So here we are on the last week of November, moving into December, and I feel like I was just talking about, like May or June, and how they were starting to bring in information, even back then, about 2026. And this has not wavered for me, what I've received. And I talk about this almost every time in the energy updates, is how spring of 2026, and they keep showing April and they're still showing it, is significant energetically, possibly materially, meaning we may see something in the material. We know we have a lot of shakeup going on. There's everything that you could imagine that is chaotic right now out in the collective. And the piece, okay, hold on, let's just go ahead. I know I haven't even introduced myself, but I'm Carolyn Zaiser. For those of you who have not met me before, watch my videos, and you can see all of my information in the description box below. But let's just get right into it, because it feels very clear that I want to start talking about this. Okay, so what we've got in the collective is a variety of pieces of the puzzle that are super chaotic. They look like they don't fit together, but they do. And of course, I'm from the United States, so we very much have a lot going on, and these puzzle pieces are going to start falling into place, is what they're showing me. It feels very much materially, but each day that we wake up, something new is being added to the mix or to the recipe. Oh, I just heard a squealing of the patriarchy. Oh God, I just got huge chills, which seems very obvious. It's also around the world, not just the United States, but there is a leading energy in the United States that is, we all, I don't want to say look to, but we're impacted by, regardless of where we are. oh, and I just heard who will win in that sense, right? What energy is going to win ultimately in this country? That said, okay, the patriarchy is squealing, is what I'm hearing. The patriarchy is squealing. Oh my gosh, this is such a battle. You know, I always talk about the dark and the light, but what this really is too is this is the rebalancing of the feminine masculine, but what we see now is the toxicity out there of the patriarchy, right? So we have masculine, feminine, we have divine masculine, divine feminine. And right now we aren't seeing the divinity in that acting out, if that makes sense. It is the toxicity, it's the lower frequencies of the patriarchy that are squealing. Because what's happening now is, oh, I just heard fighting for position. Okay, yeah, I mean, we know that, right? Exactly, fighting for position. But what they're also talking about, the pieces are going to start falling into place. And there's some things that are going to be getting spit out. It looks like people too. Like we're actually going to materially see some of these puzzle pieces, and we might not understand the journey. But the thing is, what we have to start to see, and it feels like we're accelerating this. Things are accelerating in the sense that the energies that are coming in, and they're from the cosmos, from the sun, okay? So the sun is activating a lot of things within us, our DNA, but also materially in the collective of what's actually happening out there to shift and change things so that the balance, the rebalance, I don't want to say begins because it already has begun, but where there's a huge shift, and they just showed an earthquake, like there's a massive shift. And as the patriarchy starts to crumble, we're seeing the rise. Okay, so what they're showing is the rise of the feminine. Now remember, it's not about men or women. I mean, yes, that's kind of how that's represented. It's about the feminine and masculine in all of us, and how that's balanced and meshed within to express the without. Oh, I just got huge chills on that, and half the time I don't even know what I'm saying. But anyway, so this is turning inward. This is this rebalance that we all are having, right? And what does that actually mean for each of us? But it's a rebalance of so much in our journey, right? It's a rebalance of the things that we choose to take forward with us into the new year, that we choose not to. We'll continue to do this, right? But again, the crumbling of the patriarchy, the rise of the feminine, I'm seeing this over, and, you know, left, right, don't worry about that in what I'm showing you, but I'm showing over here the feminine, because they're just showing it this way for me. Like there's a rise of the feminine. I mean, a huge rise within all, and it's going to break through, is what I keep seeing. That they just said the ceiling. You know, we always talk about the glass ceiling, right? Or the and again, I want you to understand it's about what's in each of us. It's not just about men against women kind of thing at all. It's the patriarchy. And it's the divinity of the masculine wanting to come in, but also with the rebalance of the feminine. Because here's the thing, too. The feminine has toxicity, too, oftentimes, right? Because what we've done is, as a collective, we have really sunk down into a lower frequency vibration, okay? And you can see it out there each day, but yet there's also that shining light, right? But you can see how we've done that. We've been able to create an energy that doesn't serve anyone and then pulls everyone down because it's so strong. And then only the few rise. So what we're doing now is rebalancing at the foundational levels collectively, individually, I should say, to rise into the collective. So what I very much have been getting for this, and it's squealing, patriarchy squealing. Okay, so that's maybe our title. I don't know. But what I very, very, very much am getting for December is what they're showing is, and they've been talking about this, but is the cacophony out here, but we have to keep going. We have to keep going on what is important to us, what we know in our heart and our soul, and what energy that we have moving within us that feels like it's been displaced. I just heard that word, displaced. Feels like has been displaced or ignored. What parts of us have been ignored and displaced that bring us joy, that bring us passion? And sometimes we can't even recognize what those are. So this huge balance is so important in that we bring through the things that we know we need to be doing, and we need to shift other things out. This is a huge part of the spiritual journey. I mean, it's inward. It's an inward journey. It's an inner journey to our divinity and the power within us. Bottom line, that's what this is. All right. And then we create from within that new structure, or our original structure, opening up DNA, opening up, taking in the sun, which is doing this naturally for us. But here, what we're needing to really look at is the parts of us that have not been exposed to light, is what I just got. That's really interesting. Not been exposed to light for some time. Those are the parts that are awakening and want to present themselves out into the world and into our lives. So it's not getting pulled in, as I will always tell you, by what's happening out there, because that's the goal of that, is to pull us in so we can't do our inner work, so we can't find our light, so we can't find our passion and joy. But what we have to do is keep going regardless. We just need to keep doing what we know we need to do in our own individual journey, and for others around us, assisting others in their journey, right? This is a collective mission that we're on at the lowest possible levels. And when I say lowest levels, I'm talking the common human, okay? I'm talking in the structure and a hierarchy that we have. So this is about us continuing to move forward in this journey, but really embracing the power that you actually have. So they just showed the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. You know, they give me that one a lot, and it's not just at the holidays. So this is so profound. I should use that as my image for the video, for the thumbnail. So they're showing this again as I was talking. They're bringing in the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. So remember, the Grinch comes in, takes everything, thinks they're going to ruin the Who people's or the Whoville villagers' lives. No. They come together, and remember they're doing the little song and the little dance. That's us. That's us coming together arm in arm. And we're starting to do this. We're starting to actually see this in the material world, right? So as we have that energy of the Grinch out there, okay? And remember, it's a very insidious collective energy that's out there, all right? Trying to keep us. That's why the patriarchy, that's why those energies are screaming now, because guess what? We're getting stronger. We're getting stronger. We're doing our individual work. It literally matters that you're making choices in your day-to-day. It literally matters. Don't get hung up about, what am I doing to help the collective? And what you're doing is you're working your own journey. You're making choices that serve you. You're deciding that these other things don't serve you any longer. The universe is coming in, starting to click things together for you. The Rubik's Cube moment. You're having to move forward, okay? You're being brought... sometimes trauma and tragedy in your own life to be able to be brought into your inner self. I know a number of people at that stage now. Remember, we don't all go through the same stages at the same time. It would be too much energy at those stages. So lots of times what will happen, and this is happening now to people in their journeys, is where, and again, it's not just this happens once, we can be repeatedly brought things to show us something different, right? And, it's no joke. Lots of times, we don't see what we're meant to see, and then we get brought something else because we didn't get hammered over the head hard enough. Sometimes that's what's happening, right? We get repeated patterns, but being able to choose differently this time. But a lot of us also are at stages where we need to be able to recognize those patterns and say, wait, I'm being spoken to. Why do these things keep happening to me? Why do I keep having this occur? Going inward. Now, again, there are other reasons for these things, but I see this as a pattern for people, right? And we get knocked down until we wake up, honestly. And so we're having that happen with a lot of people, but we're also having a lot of people make those shifts and changes that are necessary, and they're seeing a whole change in their journey, a rebalancing. And that's how they feel about themselves. It's how they react to the outer world. It's the things they're choosing to do. It's the work they're choosing to do. It's all these choices that show up materially that are a result of this energetic shift that we're going through. But it has to happen at the individual level first. And so what we're doing in December is, oh my gosh, December is just, it's going to be fast. It's going to click through quickly. Of course, we know with the holidays, it always happens that way, right? Like it even feels faster. But what I'm getting is we are just being pushed to the end of the year, into the new year. And we are at a leaping off point. Okay, let's just see what they're showing, because that was showing me the calendar. It's like a downhill slide in December. So we're getting on this slippery slide and we're just moving fast. And before you know it, you're going to wake up and it's like the new year, and then we're going to be into spring. It's going to feel like you're back. You should be you're a year ahead of yourself, right? So again, what you want to really do in December, and honestly, this is so interesting. Now we're talking about this because I just got done doing this. I'll give you my example. I hadn't even thought about this. I had not even thought about this. So what they're really giving me is to find space in December for yourself, because otherwise you're going to feel like you're just being yanked up on a chain and pulled forward. And this is going to be, it's going to feel like, oh, I can't find space. Yes, you can. You find space for self, find space for rebalancing, find space for reflection is what I keep getting. Find space for being able to start looking at where you need to find space. That probably doesn't make sense. It's what's around you, how much stuff you have, how much, like, what is causing you to not be able to breathe in the course of your day, right? I very much get, in order to expand, we have to contract, in that sense of being able to let go of things, to open up that space for that energy to flow in. This is all about energy flowing in and allowing that opportunity for that to happen, because we're going to be presented with more from the sun, is what I'm getting, more energetic events, and we have to open up that space. I hope that makes sense. So what we're doing in our journey energetically is shedding things that don't serve us. December, okay, I'm going to give you my example that I did not even tie to this because, of course, I was in channeling this when all this was happening. So last year at this time, I was having a disaster. I had 6 months of house stuff. I won't go through that again because some of you heard this, where my kitchen, part of my living room was torn up. I wasn't able to really, and I love Christmas. I love to decorate, and I just love Christmas. I love the feeling. I love snow. I love all that. Anyway, it was awful. And I felt like I squished for time and squished for everything. And it wasn't a proper holiday for me. This year, I'm already fully decorated as of yesterday. I had this feel that I needed and wanted all this done before December 1st. Everything done so that I could sit in the enjoyment of it. All my gifts, I know this sounds nuts, but all my gifts are wrapped. I'm done shopping. Everything's done. That's all done. Done, set aside, because first of all, I don't like to wrap. So there's an impetus there. But then I was going to get decorated within the next couple weeks, and all of a sudden this last week I'm like, nope, doing it now. And the time opened up. I got it all done. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, got a couple teeny little things left to do. And this is before Thanksgiving, which I'm not one who does stuff before a holiday. The outdoors looks like Thanksgiving. The indoors is Christmas. But what's happening with me is, this is so interesting. I'm a good example, I guess, of what we're just channeling now. So remember how I tell you I always get information beforehand and in a meditation, and I want to try to share it, and then I end up sharing that and channeling in the session or in the energy update. But here's the thing. I didn't do that this time. I didn't sit in my in meditation to get information, because I do like to do these live. But what happened is they brought it through in my day-to-day actions, because also what I've done is I've realized in November my rebalancing needs to happen. I've actually physically done these things where teaching my tennis, okay, I've canceled I've moved, I should say, a number of lessons that I'm teaching to different times. I've opened up some free vacation time in December. I've closed out certain days that I'll be not working. And I'm like really looking forward to December because I have space. I have some time. I have some time to really settle in and breathe and do more meditation and do more inner just being. Because that opens up space for us to be able to accept what's being offered to us. because I keep getting that if we are blockaded by all the things we are doing, we have created a fortress of our own energy that does not allow for the goodness of what is coming in and radiating into us. Okay? Take that for however it works in your journey, but I'm very much getting this, and no wonder I'm already set up for December, which is fascinating because we also have the solstice. I know, I swear we just talked about the solstice, the summer solstice. Well, I shouldn't say summer, June solstice, because of course we're, a collective here, and some of us will be going into our winter versus, I shouldn't say our winter. I'm sorry, when we talk about winter solstice, for others, it's more like the summer solstice, right? But needless to say, it's happening. It's happening in December, and more than anything, what I'm getting, I just heard flow like the river, the gentle flow of the stream. Okay, they're bringing back the leaf on the stream. And during the holidays, we can have the cacophony of the holidays drown us. So for those of you on this journey of the ones in the front, which is we all are as light workers, that's the audience here, the first wavers, second wavers, whatever number you want to call it, because we do come in waves, right? I don't care where you're at in the journey, look for space, because we're going to need it to flow into the new year, because we're carrying a heavy load that I just heard. The load is the collective. We're carrying the heavy load. Remember, we are the force that is plowing through the forest, or they obviously various metaphors, but the jungle, macheting down the first, pathway, carrying the load, Atlas, the whole Atlas thing, right? Carrying the load. We're preparing ourselves for more coming our way, but we have to be in a space. Our work isn't done. I mean, we may say, oh, I'm in place with my work, with my personal life where I want to be. Yeah, I know. But we still want to continue to look always at where are we needing continued focus, right? Focus on that balance. Focus on what brings us joy. Focus on that divine creator inside of us who has all knowing, who has all understanding. Maybe what your journey is now, since you've got the material world part refocused, right? You've made a lot of shifts and changes, or you're in the middle of it. Maybe now it's being able to align with the truth of you. You are the truth. You don't need outer information to tell you how to make decisions, what to do, how to be. Maybe it's you moving into your intuitive knowing, the true godness of who you are inside, being able to express that and know the solidity in who you are, so that you can continue to grow in your intuitive gifts and blossom even more. Because I do believe we have to realign our physical structure, foundation in which we live, to be able to bring in the highest source frequency for ourselves, to be able to actually then shine like the beacon we are. So my point in this is what I'm receiving, and I've received this before, but what I'm receiving is we can't have, I'll just say it, a hot mess going on in our own journey and continuing to do, live in the old patterned ways that didn't serve us. We have to become aware of all that before we can live in our highest source frequency, okay? We can be doing this work at the same time, but we can't ignore that. We can't ignore that. We can want all of this, right? But we have to be able to, whatever we've created currently in our material world and how we're living, that has to shift and change, all right? And a lot of times it can come together, but typically what I do see, and everybody's different, but I'll give you, I kind of got hit by a lightning bolt with my awakening. Well, not kind of, I did in 2016. And I went from one door shutting, like a massive, huge door, to a massive, huge door opening. And all of a sudden I was just there. So I'm having to do all my work at the same time that my intuitive gifts are opening up. So that happens too, right? That's a lot. But at the same time, we will see this happen often where people are being cracked open and your life's changing and you're having to come to terms with that. And then your inner journey starts, and this journey to truly opening up to the divine nature that you are, of knowing what your answers are, knowing what needs to be done, faith and trust in that truth of you. Because this is a journey back to you. This is a journey back to you. The faith and trust of you, of what you know, of who you are, of not looking to the outside world for all your answers, right? I mean, yes, we use other people to assist us in knowing our answers. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about the truth of you and being able to take information and say, okay, that resonates with me. That is part of my journey. Looking at those puzzle pieces that you can take forward, right? Not saying, oh, they told me this, so I got to go do that. No. So this is what it is about. If you want to boil this whole awakening journey down and where we're headed, it is about you. It is about you being able to discern the truth of you, listen to the truth of you, trust the truth of you, and swim through all the cacophony and all the layers, all the gunk of what has been done to you over time, and use it as a learning to find you. All right? So we're really being driven in December to find space to, and I know a lot of you saying, well, yeah, I've been doing this. Yeah, I know, but there's something big about the December time frame to be able to take us into the new year, because, okay, they just showed taking a deep breath because the exhale's coming in 2026. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like, but there's something big coming. And I feel like it's going to be material. We're going to see it in our world. We're going to see it. Now, mind you, it's not always, I've always said this, and I'll go to my grave with this, and you guys can come around and tell me, no, you were really wrong. But we're not all going to walk out, every single one of us, one day out of our doors or whatever, and look into the skies, and we're all going to go, oh, now we understand. That's not how it's going to work. But we're going to have some big understandings over the next 2 years. And there's going to be, we got the whole 3-eye Atlas thing coming, which I've channeled unknowingly Atlas stuff in the past. And so there's the consideration of what we're preparing for is this revamping of us as a collective, right? Well, first of all, of us as individuals going through our awakening journey, coming out of our shells, right? And that bubbling into the collective shift and change, and then the journey from the galactic crew out there, which will join us at some point. All right, so there's those 3 things going on. And how that will manifest, I do not know, but it is literally those 3 pieces of inner journey, the awakening of part of the collective, pulling forward the rest of the collective, because remember, we're rising in frequency and vibration. We go together. It's kind of like this, right? So people are getting popped open and awake. So then we have the collective shift and change that we'll start to see out there in our crazy, weird world that we're seeing things happening. You wake up each day, you don't know what you're going to see, right? I mean, honestly. But then day to day in your own individual journey, you're seeing beautiful things with people. That's what you got to hang on to. That's what you got to create, right? That's what you're creating from what you know inside. You're having good experiences, right? And every now and then we run into, something that's not wonderful, but very seldom. So we're creating that new world. And then what we're going to have is assistance, or how do I want to explain this? They've always been here, but there is I very much get this, whether it's 3-eye Atlas or not, but I very much get that in the next couple of years we're going to have some kind of mass understanding of, and again, it's not going to be, I don't believe, but it could be, where we stand outside and everything changes. I don't think so, but there is a understanding of this collective oneness, and not just within Earth, okay? Not just within Earth. Okay, so I think we're going to finish up here for December. I would say if you took nothing else away from this energy update, is find space. I mean, they're really pressuring us to find space, and balance. That goes to even just maybe what we might think isn't important, even though we feel it, like holiday gatherings. Are you going to say yes to every single thing? Even friend stuff, like all this holiday stuff a lot of people do. You're going to say yes to everything? Or even you say yes, but you're like, you can just feel the pressure of not wanting to do all that. Well, then you don't stay as long, all right? Like, I don't know, there's a party that your friends, you love your friends and you want to go, but you're going to just stay a couple hours. You're not going to get forced into the pressure of a friend situation where you're out all night kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Think you're going to know, you're going to feel it, but you want to go with your feelings, but you want to create some space for yourself. You want to create some space for yourself moving into this downhill slide, which I'm very much getting is like a slippery slide. And we're going to be into 2026 in a huge way very soon. So be ready for an explosive, that's interesting, explosive 2026. Again, center yourself, be ready to roll, and just keep doing what you're doing. Most of you are doing these things, right? Most of you are doing these things, but this is big. We are in big times. We are in huge transformative times in the next couple of years. I really get, they just showed me 2030. What is this? What year is this? 2025. Yeah. Now until then, but very much the next couple of years, we're not going to recognize ourselves in 2030. All right, everybody, I'll leave you with my information. It's Carolyn at purplerainhealing.com. purplerainhealing.com is my website. You can check out all my services where I assist you with your spiritual awakening journey. I offer channeled messages, whether it be a 50-minute audio recording of past lives or a channeled message session. We do also soul journeys with Celeste and myself, where we really give you big picture view from both of us coming together. Those are really exciting. And I also assist you in energy healing. So check out my services, purplerainhealing.com. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you well in this last month of 2025 as we enter into very, very new times. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.